So the positivity I would like to bring is that not only that we help them, but they can help us, be it through new cultures, be it through new ways of living, new rituals that we can learn about, new foods, new tastes.
I like curry, but now that we've got the recipe, is there really any need for them to stay?
For example, in East Talbot, we simply don't have anywhere that sells halal food.
Good heavens, what a travesty. Have you heard, my fanware? In Neath Talbot, they haven't anywhere to buy halal food. Oh! Now, that just won't do. The Welsh choirboys won't be best pleased about that situation. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Who's Daniel Boland? Oh, Daniel Boland, this is a heavy hitter. Do you guys know who this is?
I mean, they've got to take the trip to Swansea then to find that food. I've written to Tesco, I've written to different outlets in East Talbot if they can provide halal food, and they simply say no, they don't have the demand. Well, if that's the case, then how are they accommodating those very people who are the most vulnerable, who will only eat that food in... Oh
no, God forbid Abdul and his buddies be put out like that, having to go all the way down to Swansea to get their hands on their halal goodies. Bethen Syed there, maiden name Jenkins, a member of the Plaid Cymru, Welsh Nationalist Independence Party. It's funny, isn't it, how all of these independence political parties, like if it's whether it be the Scottish National Party in Scotland, Sinn Féin in Ireland, Plaid Cymru in Wales, even here in Spain, Bildu in the Basque Country, or Junts in Catalonia, they were obsessed for years. Their sole obsession was the language, the history, the preservation of their culture, right? And now they're all embracing multiculturalism. It's almost as though their obsession with preservation wasn't really an obsession with preservation at all, but just a veil for their wanton destruction of everything around them.
Well, it's got nothing to do with genes or family history or where you're from. He says it is in the heart, and it is a love of the place in the heart that makes Welshness.
Okay, sure thing, whatever you say, Boozy. But I've said this before. God, it's hot in here. I've said this before, right? If I rocked up in Beijing tomorrow and started telling all of the bemused locals how, after all, being Chinese is just a feeling. Look, I'm as Chinese as you guys. Yeah, I've got the hat and everything. I don't think that would fly. You know what I mean? And with this, we're not just going to talk about Wales in today's video, okay? It's not just about being Welsh. We're going to talk about this toxic empathy that has taken over people's minds in the West. But let's say that anyone who's in Wales is Welsh. Fine, whatever. Legally, you're here, you're a citizen, you're Welsh. You're here, I'm not in Wales, but whatever. All right? And you think that Axel Rudakavarna, the child slayer, is Welsh. But surely there's a spectrum. I mean, can you be more Welsh than Axel Rudakavarna? If you try, if you really try. Who's more Welsh? Axel Rudakavarna or Tom Jones? Who's more Welsh? Axel Rudakavarna or Richard Burton? Axel or Anthony Hopkins? Axel or Catherine Zeta-Jones? Now that's a Welshman woman.
The actual story is people crossing a stretch of deadly sea in unfit boats who can't swim, who've never driven a boat before, with life jackets that don't pass muster often. And we've got tens of thousands of them across safe. We've rescued them. And I think it's wonderful.
Oh yeah, wonderful's right. It's absolutely wonderful that you've helped all those thousands and thousands of people to escape war-torn France. Now, I know you should not judge a book by its cover, but I have to say, when I look at this fella here, a rosy-cheeked inebriate scruff pot, when I look at him, I can't help feeling, or questioning, is everything he's doing for all of these Afghans and Afghanesses
and fresh Indians,
is it born out of love, a desire, hypersensibility, an overly developed psychotic empathy? Or is it possible that this fellow has an axe to grind? It's really more about hatred for the people he grew up around.
You've been standing on the front line of Dover, listening to voices that actually rarely get heard. These are people who are helping on what you called one of the great search and rescue operations of all time.
Charities can't say anything. Volunteers often can't say anything. Nobody can say anything because everyone's so frightened of this tiny constituency, which is the right, who are ludicrously amplified by certain newspapers and websites and the government. I've done some pretty far out journeys, and yet nothing I have done touches what those people had done that morning.
Well, don't be so harsh on yourself, to look at you, I'd say you'd been to hell and back, you massive tramp. Now, look, in my videos, I do not like to read off many stats, okay? Because it sounds a little bit, technically, 15%. Shut up. We ain't got no time for that. Now, I have, however, looked at a few stats for today's video, and one of them was very interesting to me, and it's this. About 150, slightly fewer, about 150 people have died trying to illegally cross the English Channel over the last few years, since 2018. Around 150 have died trying to escape war-torn Calais to the safe haven of Dover. Now, that sounds bad, maybe, but 182,000 have been successful in their voyage. Now, I'm not saying it's any picnic crossing the English Channel on one of those rafts. You're obviously taking a chance. However, around 2,000 people a year, more than 2,000 people a year, die driving in the UK. I mean, if you drive a lot, you're more likely to die than somebody crossing the English Channel. My point is, I think these people feel like it's worth it, Because they're coming from France, they're not coming from Sudan. In that moment, they're leaving France for England. There must be a reward. They're doing a cost-benefit analysis there. I reckon if you offered £1 million to a lot of the people where I grew up to swim the English Channel, they'd probably say yes. Throw in a bottle of White Lightning to sweeten the deal. They'd do it. Maybe I'm just a total psychopath, but I'm not choking up at the thought of people risking their lives to cross the channel. I'm just not. When I hear stories about people crossing the Sahara Desert to get to North Africa rather than stay in sub-Saharan Africa, yes, sometimes that's pretty like, whoa, Jesus. They really are risking their lives. Going across from Calais to Dover, I think most of them are not worried. They think it's going to be fine.
Imagine doing that with a baby and then getting here and being told that you're some kind of problem. I interviewed a man and I asked him what it meant to him to be Welsh. And then he says, well, it's got nothing to do with genes or family history or where you're from. He says it is in the heart. And it is a love of the place in the heart that makes Welshness. And that is a profoundly political position.
It's a profoundly fucking stupid position as well. But he's right, it is a profoundly political. It's a totally political position because nobody actually fucking believes that. Oh, it's in your heart. That's what makes you... that's what makes me Chinese. Fuck it. I am Chinese because in my heart, you can't see it, right? It's in my heart. How could you know? I feel properly Chinese. Prove me wrong.
And that is a profoundly political position, which threatens pretty well the entire world order, and this is the one I most fundamentally believe in.
You put emotional piano music to what is essentially a drunk maniac talking shite. It's pure. It's just ideology. There's no way he could believe what he's saying there. Okay, some guy rocks up on the shores of Wales, He's as Welsh as fucking Gary Speed. Nobody's as Welsh as Gary Speed.
Nationality identity is in the heart, and it's founded in love. And the worry for the people like Neil is that these people coming across the channel are coming for the money rather than for the love. But the difference between me and Neil is that I've interviewed them, and they are coming for the love.
Oh, they're coming for the love, all right. You know, he should know, hasn't he? After all, he has interviewed them all, hasn't he? The bloodshot-eyed vagrant of Dover. I know, I've interviewed them all. Do you think maybe he actually isn't really involved in any of the channel crossings or helping these people? He's just there every morning, hammered off his face on the beach on Dover, screaming at the immigrants. Oh, he thinks he's helping.
So I'm here outside the recruitment training camp where the Home Office has decided to temporarily house 540 asylum seekers. What struck me most actually from this first site visit is the stories from the Home Office staff of the asylum seekers in other sites. They're talking about surgeons and doctors and lawyers.
Well, I'm sure all of those undocumented illegal immigrants who are claiming to be surgeons, doctors and lawyers are genuinely surgeons, doctors and lawyers. It's just a shame they've got nothing on their person to prove that. Must have fallen in the water on the bumpy ride across, right? However, you just got to wonder, if they really are surgeons, doctors, lawyers, engineers, why didn't they come through the legal route to our country? I mean, we're always saying how we need more doctors and lawyers. I don't know why, though. Yeah, why? I wonder why we need ever more doctors and lawyers in the UK. Can't think why. Why didn't... And another thing I've got to say is I'm worried. One of my biggest concerns is that France are going to get wind of the brain drain going on at Calais. You know, when they find out all of the talent, the surgeons, doctors, lawyers, engineers, astronauts that are coming out of Calais, leaving continental Europe. We've had peace in Europe for 80 years, and I wouldn't do anything to jeopardize that. We're going to have to go one of two ways. We're either going to have to keep allowing these resources to come into our country on the sly, you know, essentially stealing them from continental Europe, and hope they never notice. But it's a question of time, though, isn't it? Eventually, French and German people are going to be coming to London, and they'll be like, what the hell? Where am I? I'm in the future. Like, nothing will make sense. Everything will be AI and holograms and high-speed rail. They won't understand. They'll be like, what happened here? How did it all get so advanced? And we'll just be like, oh, I don't know. We just... Brexit went well for us, I guess. That's my worry. It's like, either we're going to have to tell them what's going on and share all of the talent, or send it back, you know, send it back to Afghanistan and Eritrea or wherever they're coming from. So that because we can't hoard it all for ourselves. Either we let everyone know about all of the geniuses that are coming into our country and leaving Europe for Britain for whatever reason, just because it's better there, I guess, the weather or the food, I don't know what it is. They're deciding to come to us. Either we tell the world what's happening, or we're going to have to do some preemptive strikes against France. There, I said it. They're a nuclear power. Okay? They might just one day find out what's going on and go nuclear straight away. We've got to be ready for that.
Surgeons and doctors and lawyers, people who come from Eritrea or Afghanistan or all kinds of different places, who really should have the right to work, to contribute to our society, to be better integrated for their own well-being and for our communities, to pay tax, to be able to rent their own accommodation, to be able to get on with building their lives. We need to give asylum seekers the right to work. These camps are a political decision. We don't have to do it this way.
Yes, for God's sake, release those doctors and lawyers and engineers into our community so that they may medicate, litigate, and tinker with things, I guess. Here you go, a classic example of government mismanagement of resources. Here we've got a fresh, free-range flock of Somalian marine biologists just wandering around the sleepy town of West Drayton near Heathrow Airport. They're just going around aimlessly looking for, porpoises to observe or something. West Drayton's landlocked, god damn it! They're not going to find anything to do in West Drayton. Christ on a bike. Anyway, closing thoughts, closing remarks. I guess I could be a more empathetic guy, couldn't I? It's possible. But I feel like the world right now is begging for big tough guys like me. Tough love. Or at least that's the way I see it. I'm also aware I've been calling a guy a scruffbot for ages. I know my hair. I know I didn't shave today. But he looks slightly worse than me. So I win, I guess. Look, I've had a lovely time in today's video. If you've had a lovely time at any point, this video deserves a like. It deserves your subscription for life. Follow me on X, follow me on Instagram to know when I bring out a new video. Join my Patreon if you don't want me selling my soul to some horrible advertisers. And I'll leave you with the outro, I guess. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Well, fuck off.
So, I live.